I don't know where the Adekunle and the Ahmed emerged from. So, on the second arm of your question, of what use will it be in the Supreme Court? It is very, very clear that from the Senate authorities, the Supreme Court has held that they can accept a party to adduce fresh evidence as long as certain conditions are met. And from what transpired in the proceedings in U.S. courts, that condition has already been met. So, as we speak, our law is very clear that a party at fault cannot be allowed to enjoy the fruit of his illegality. That is our answer to your question. Thank you. My name is Carlo.
Thank you very much, Carlo. I will take, because of the condition of this place very hot, and I have your excellencies present here. So many of them. I'm privileged to be right in front of you, your excellencies. Won't keep you here for too long. Okay, Friday or Rocco, the Punch newspapers.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name is Friday Rocco with Punch newspapers. Well, there have been rumors flying around that because of this issue, this alleged certificate forgery, that some persons have reached you by way of trying to intervene, to put pressure on you, purportedly from the president, for you to step down on this matter. If it is true, will you step down on this matter? That's one. Secondly, we are fighting this cause. What's the fate of your business interests? Do you fear that maybe, should you continue, that your business interests might be threatened because of the powers from the presidency? Thank you very much.
Okay, let me start from the business perspective, because it's the latest in the series of questions that you asked. Yes, as you might have read in several other places, I was, in fact, not involved, in fact, I was the founder of one of the biggest oil and gas logistics company since the military area. And as soon as Buhari government came, even though we had license, we had got nothing to do with government. We were only contractors in logistics to the oil companies, not government. But as soon as Buhari came, all those contracts were revoked and taken away from us till today. So I'm not doing any government business. Yes, I'm in other businesses, agriculture, manufacturing, and so on and so forth. So that's as far as government business is concerned. So I'm not scared of any business being taken away from me. It has already been taken away from me since the beginning of 1990. Since Buhari's time, they took it and distributed it among themselves. So, what was the other question? Not really. Yes, immediately after the elections, I was told there was a delegation of governors who claimed, they were sent I will only drop the fight when the court rules. If the court rules that I am right, fine. If the court rules that he is right, so that's the end of the fight. Because at the moment we are at the Supreme Court, and there's no any other court than the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Your Excellency. That will be my esteemed colleagues. I know that you
Everybody, hear we can hear that Atiku has said it. So whatever you are saying from here moving forward, do not be afraid. You know, many people before now, I was one of those that called for Atiku Abubakar to actually do a press conference on this. And now he has done the press conference. So whatever you do as a content creator or whatever now moving forward, you have a reference point. You can now say you're quoting Atiku Abubakar. You can hear what the lawyer said, not me, that the school, that what he submitted to INEC was that the school that he attended, or he claimed to attend, and that the not national insurance, the SSN, that is a social security number that he used when he got the admission, belonged to someone else. And that the NYSC certificate that he has submitted had Adekunle. I don't know if in the course of biology, an Adekunle can metamorphose into Ebola. I don't know, no, an Ahmed, because it is A. You know, listening to that, it brings to mind one time a lady who got married to a man, but that lady was SS, and she lied to the husband that she was AS because the husband was AA. At some point, when they had a child, and that child was suffered from sickle cell, and the lady's argument is, hey, that her, you know, that her genotype changed. So in this case of Tinubu, we don't know if her sex changed. Many of you have jokingly said that Tinubu is a man who traveled to America as a woman, came back as a man. What God cannot do does not exist. I do not know what you think about the press conference given by Atiku Abubakar, but I think it's, you know, everything is pointing to somewhere. And that direction that everything is pointing to isn't tasting right in the mouth. I do not know what you think, people, but I think it's about to go down, honestly. Do I have faith that judiciary, or especially Supreme Court, will do the right thing? If I'm honest, my gut feeling is telling me, nah, they're not going to do anything. The question is, what is then left? If you want to join me, This is the 25th minute that we've been on. Sorry, we had some hitches there. We had to pick signal from our eyes before we come back to our camera, but obviously, you know, the rest is history now. So if you want to join me, look at the comment section. You can see the link to join and tell us what you think that ATiku Abubakar, you know, what you understood from what they've done in America. Because here, people, I can show you, we are actually publishing that. When I read the whole transcript, that transcript is 155 pages. And I read it this morning. And I started asking myself, it is in bad light, to be honest with you. We're going to publish that and we're going to share, you know, the whole transcript. So this is not somebody, and I advise every Nigerian to actually do that, because this is not a case of Njenje Media published, Gazette published, Arise Nif TV published. No, read it yourself. Make the judgment yourself. If we are a nation where morality, where integrity means anything, where we have any atom of it, I believe by now, honestly, some people should be answering serious questions. But hey, here we are. This is Nigeria for you. It appears nothing happens. The press conference has finished from Abuja. Here, you can join us and have this conversation. Apparently, what this press conference has confirmed, that you can go out from here and shout it to the rooftop that the thing used is not, you know. So I can see that citizens Mike and Tony have joined me. But before I bring you on, please, you must show your face. I mean, this is not night, so it's not that you are in the other room, that you don't want to disturb your children or madam. Sorry, if you're not showing your face, I am not going to bring you in to speak. So it is ATiku Abubakar's address, you know, a press conference that was addressed by ATiku Abubakar on his findings on the Bola Tinubu CSU, that is, you know, Chicago State University records. And that is what has just happened. Okay, so the summary, and then there's a recap. I was about making a tweet when ATiku Abubakar was asked. You can see that I haven't even published it. Sorry, not a tweet, a Facebook page. I'm sorry, a Facebook post. I just wrote, I will only drop the fight when the Supreme Court rules. ATiku Abubakar said that he's not going to stop, because when they asked him, is he not afraid of his business interest? He said no, he was actually the one who helped Bola Tinubu in 2007 when they wanted to take Lagos. But, you know, that's another revelation. You see, for me, I don't decide anybody. We keep saying the truth the way it is. What we do here is actually to look at the, you know, look at truth. It means that at that level, they always decide who gets what, because he used his mouth to say just moments ago that he was the one that convinced Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, not to take Lagos. You see the difference here? You have the younger children. You have the new generation. They don't care what the elderly ones think. In 2023, they didn't care what Obasanjo, what Atiku, which deal they had. They said enough is enough. We are going to take Lagos. And they took Lagos. Even in all the rigging and the intimidation of certain people in Lagos, they still lost Lagos. So it's not 2007. It is a new generation. For some of you who want to join me now, please, by every means necessary, turn on your camera. If you're unable to turn on your camera, you know, you're very unlikely to come in. I can see we have a couple of you, Oluchukwu, Tony. And just make sure also that you have your name. You typed in your name. When you click on that, before you come into the studio, it will ask you to put in your name. Make sure you put in your name before you are able to come, right? I want to know what you think about the whole findings. I also want to know what you think about the press conference. I think One thing that I also agree with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is where he gave David Hundeyin a credit. I've said it before. David has made our generation very proud. David is indeed the David that brought down the Goliath. You know, Gani Fayemi, when he was alive, was limited by technology. The reason why Gani couldn't finish that job was because he was limited by technology, maybe by resources, and by exposure. But here, internet has made it that we can stay in Nigeria and request for stuff across the sea. And David sat somewhere in a secured house where he sought for asylum in the Republic of Ghana and wrote all these things. For those of you who may not also know, so this is not an ethnic fight because David as well is the real Omoluabi. David is from Lagos State and the real owners of Lagos. So, you know, you can argue that this is a family affair, but one thing that is very clear, beyond arguing whether ethnicity or anything has anything to do with that, the critical point here is that the young man David saw something and he did and he applied all his resources and wisdom to, you know, push to see that these things came to the fore. Recall that the first time he published about how Bola Tinubu and his children commingled money and how they bought properties all over the world, within 30 minutes of publishing that, I called him on the phone. I said, David, can we have a conversation? He said, when? I said to him, can we have a conversation on Ginger Media maybe in the next 3-4 hours? And he agreed. And we had that conversation the same day. Go back to Ginger Media there. The conversation is there. You know, it's a joy to listen to him. He has a very unique way of writing. And I'm very glad that Atiku Abubakar also recognizes that. David Hundeyin, as they say, a man will be. So now let me get some of you who are now on camera and some of you who are driving to join me here in the studio. So please, if you haven't, if you're not speaking, please can you mute, because I can already hear people noise. I don't like it when noise in there. Sorry. Okay, let me take you guys one by one. Let me take Nathaniel. Nathaniel, what do you think? Nathaniel, can you hear me? Nathaniel, can you hear me? COB, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Okay. So it appears Nathaniel cannot hear me. COB, what's your take on the issue at stake?
I think everything is in the open now. It's in the open market, if I would say. It's just left for the Nigerian judiciary to say something or to do the needful. Because all along we have been saying all eyes on judiciary.
And they got on.
Yes, I think the ball is in their court now to redeem this nation. This nation is dying. I'm talking from England. I'm in London. Yesterday in one of the wards, Chelmsford. Nurses were called to tender afresh.
To retake examination because they use special center and
they now say that
okay, you're joining us from London, but it appears London network is dealing with you as well. Don't we? You know, for some reason, Nigerian network is even better than London now. That's the only thing we can get. So let me get the COB. COB, are you there? COB, are you there? Apparently not. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, he's here.
Okay. COB, what's your take?
Emmanuel is here.
Okay, Emmanuel, what's your take? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I don't have too much thing to say. I listened to Alhaji Atiku's presentation. I think I came late. I was not there when he started, but I got some of the things he said, especially the one that interests me most was when he talked about fighting to the judiciary, you know, gives their judgment either for him or to the president, Bola Tinubu. And he said that's when he'll stop the fight. But I want to use medium to let him know that he shouldn't stop the fight unless if the judiciary does the right thing. Because with the volume of evidence around and all this, and everybody knows what has happened. And if the judiciary themselves, they are all human beings. They know everything that is happening in this country. And ATiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu, they are friends. I think they are friends in one. They know themselves. They know their secret. So if they can start exposing their secret now, we Nigerians, our ears are open. We want to hear, we want to see, we want to know what has been happening. Let them tell us, because they know how it started, and we wouldn't like it to end that way. But the judiciary, if compromised, and they will now come and give a wrong judgment, I wouldn't like ATiku Abubakar to accept it. Since he has started the fight, let him continue the fight, so that all of us will be behind him. If the judiciary does not do the right thing, he must not stop the fight. That is the only way Nigeria will be better. Because most times when all these things happens and you go to the judiciary, they play their hanky games, everybody will go and relax and say the judiciary has said. Now we don't have a judiciary that is competent enough to say what the people will accept. Looking at all the dispositions and the judgments the judiciary have been taking since after this 2023 elections, it is obviously clear that we don't have a judiciary that is competent enough to be called a judiciary. Like when you go outside the country, like some of us, when we go out, there are some questions they ask us about. Like when you mention that name Nigeria, they ask you, oh, are you from Nigeria? I say yes. They start looking at you. The next thing they will ask you again is, what is happening in your country? If you say, what do you mean? They say, why is your judiciary not manly enough? Why are they not, why are they so corrupt that they cannot give judgment according to how it goes? And you don't know how to defend it. What will you tell them? What will you tell them? And now you say you're calling investors. How can all these people will meet and they're asking these questions? How do you think they will have the mind to come and invest in this kind of country where the judiciary is not?
Which country are you calling in from, if I may ask?
Presently, I'm calling from Ghana.
Okay,
I'm in Ghana,
Ghana.
President.
Yes.
Yes.
So now, this is what Nigerians must understand. Let me take the line of thought. When you seek for foreign investors, one of the key parameters, people that want to invest in your country, one of the key parameters they use is the how good your judicial system works.
Your judicial system.
You get into a litigation now, and the judiciary can easily be compromised, and somebody brings in millions or billions of dollars to invest in your country, and knowing that he or she or the organization or the entity can actually lose that money, then it doesn't give them the confidence to actually invest. What are they going to do? No matter how high the return on investment will be, they wouldn't want to do that. Anyway, thank you very much, Mano. Let me see, is he there? If not, Oluchukwu, please. What's your take?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good.
I want to thank you so much, Mazi. And this is Oluchukwu. I'm calling from Venice, Italy. I'm from Godiswitch, Abia State of Nigeria. And I want to thank you, Mazi, for being one of the front runners in this issue to see that things goes well in our country, Nigeria. And I just listened lately to the last statement of Atiku Abubakar, where he said he can only back out when the judiciary decide. And we all know that the judicial system in Nigeria is highly corrupt, very, very corrupt and compromised. So I was listening to Arising this morning with Mr. Fallow. I forgot the name. The man was just saying it the way it is. You know, there were a lot of arguments on the issue of this certificate saga. It is very, very sad. Like in the Western world, what Mr. Tinubu ought to have done is simply resign to save Nigeria the embarrassment. In fact, I also want to comment on the area of Mr. David Ndeye. That guy is a journalist, and that guy should be well protected because through that guy platform, a whole lot of dirty stuff has been reviewed about our so-called elite in Nigeria. It is very, very sad. As I was coming to work now, I'm working at the airport. You know, I was inside the bus chatting with a Chinese lady, you know. So a whole lot of things were just going on. We are just talking about a whole lot of things. So I want to say, just like the last speaker, ATiku Abubakar should not end it with the judicial because I don't trust Nigeria's judicial system.
No,
And
what do you mean he shouldn't end it? Hold on.
He shouldn't end
What do
it
you
in the
mean he
sense
shouldn't
that
end? If
he
hold on,
shouldn't end
if
it in
the
the sense that
Supreme
he
Court,
should. Okay.
what else do you want him to do? What else do
Okay.
you want him to do?
Okay. Let me put it this way. He might have to end it to his own, but people of Nigeria should not allow it to be like lie low like that. People of Nigeria should not allow it
What would you want the
to
people of
stay like
Nigeria
that.
to do?
We can go via the protest, peaceful protest. Yeah. I don't mean a violent protest anywhere, but it's obvious the truth. I mean, the whole stuff is in the open place now, so there's no hiding place. So I just pray and wish if the judiciary can start now to do it right, that will help us. But if not, this kind of thing ought not to be swept under the carpet, and that's just my concern. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. Now, I don't know, Citizen Mike, are you there? Citizen Mike, can you hear us? Okay, I think Citizen Mike is not there. So, but let me get someone else in. Okay, Nathaniel have spoken, right? Tunde?
No, not.
Okay, Nathaniel, you haven't. So, Nathaniel, make your submission then.
Okay, thank you for having me. What I want to say is that if we as a people will get justice, it is good that it be in an open place in the media so that we'll do justice to it. Because the only thing that can make this Tinubu stuff and the rest make them go crashing is that we'll use the social media. How we use social media all around the world, every person that emanated from Nigeria. That is the only way that will delegitimize Tinubu, because Tinubu APC will know how they captured Nigeria. This one you are just seeing, this one is just little, because the major thing that is happening to Nigerians, which Nigerians doesn't really take into consideration, is terrorism. These guys are part and parcel of terrorism that is destroying that nation. So we should use media war to delegitimize him. If he's not ashamed, let him stay on. But it will not last long, because even look at the cloud around Nigerians all over the world. How long are we going to suffer these consequences of what he has done? So these only people who are illegitimate, who have certificate, who are criminals that aspire in Nigeria. Are we all not tired of this? They are not ready to listen because they capture the nations, and every other person is a subject to that captivity, and we should not accept it anymore. Any which way we go, I'm not expecting the Supreme Court to do justice to this. I'm expecting Nigerians to do justice to this. We are all tired of this, and we should delegitimize him so that no other nation in the world will respect him as a president. And they are not willing to sit down and talk with every one of us, talk in it to every indigenous people in Nigeria, so that we can go to come together again and decide how we want to move forward. We don't expect anything from these people. Him and ATiku, all of them are one, and we don't even expect ATiku to win this war. let us, we ourselves, continue to hammer on every fault we found on him and use it to delegitimize him. That is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think before I bring in Tunde Okafor, Tunde, I can't unmute you. You are using a device, and when I unmute you, it brings in unnecessary noise. So close the device you're listening with and just listen to this. You are using two devices. So the moment you do that, we can bring you on. So COB, can you go on then? Festus Osifeso, please.
Hello, good morning. It's morning here in Houston, Texas. I don't know if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. It's really disgraceful and sad that Tinubu has this certification issue. I don't even know what's true and what's not true. But it's interesting for us to remember that Ogun State Governor, that's Dapo Abiodun, he was actually arrested in the US for Yahoo Yahoo. He did prison sentence for Yahoo Yahoo. I hope the DSS won't find me and arrest me when next I travel to Nigeria. Equally so is Tinubu's chief of staff, that is Femi Baja. I can't pronounce his last name. It's too long. Yeah. He also was a lawyer in the US and he actually frauded his clients, I think $20,000 or something. And then it's like the entire world would see Nigeria for what we worked out for with our music industries, and those are actually doing well in the diaspora. Yet still, they will also associate us as, I guess, scammers, fraudsters, especially when we have our president who's having to validate the authenticity of his certificate. We don't really know what's true and what's not true. But now they are pushing this on the obedient, saying they are the ones causing all this news of Tinubu went to this school or didn't go to this school, especially what Wole Soyinka said. But the UK is having to make Nigerian nurses, about 200 of them, retake their nursing exams because they think when you do your nursing exams in Nigeria, like it's done by a testing center, which they sort of like falsify their claims to be nurses, or someone else actually does that for them. So in a nutshell, it's sort of like they would see us as fraudsters, as inept people who are just here to scam others, especially when our president, who represents us outside of our country, has this issue of, is he a male, is he a female, did he go to this school or not? It's embarrassing for us Nigerians. It's I don't know, man, we have to just take back the country ourselves. No one, no God, no pastor. God actually wants us to take the country. No pastor is going to do anything. No God from heaven, no man is going to, do anything. We have to take back our country.
That's correct. So thank you very much. We have to take back our country. So let me bring in Tunde Okafor. Tunde, you're now on, so you can now speak. The noise is no longer coming from your side. And before Tunde speaks, for those of you joining us for the first time, this is Ginger Media TV. If you wish, we beg you and seek that you click the like button. Just click also the share button and share the space. If you wish to support us, you can use the super sticker or the super chat. Join us through the comment section. You'll see the link being shared. You can join us to put your submission. Whenever we tell ourselves that the mainstream media, blah, 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 we don't have a voice, now we are giving you the voice. Come on, share your voice and let the world hear you. So go ahead, Tunde.
Yeah, thank you, Njenje, for giving such opportunity to speak my mind. We are in a foreign land, and whenever you mention Nigeria to any white person, they will start looking at you as a criminal. Okay, look at Tinubu. He has a lot of issues. One, drug issues, certificate forgery, I can say certificate issues. And now, this same called Tinubu is the head of state. I don't know how other countries will be seeing citizens from Nigeria. They'll be seeing Nigerian citizens as criminals. And that's where our so-called political leaders. That's where they place us. I could remember what happened during the time of Buhari. Buhari having school certificate or not having, them printed nonsense and showed the whole world that he has, and that one died out. But so-called Buhari was there for 8 years. Now, Tinubu, the certificate problem. So, in fact, I'm tired of all these criminal activities about so-called political leaders, which means all those people that are leading Nigeria, they're all political criminals. That's what I can categorize them. No one has conscience. If I were in the shoe of Tinubu, I would have resigned, because a lot of allegations are on his head, starting from drug issues. This is now certificate taunting, and the so-called judgment, the banana judgment given to the world. The world is seeing, and banana judgment. I'm sorry to use that language. I don't know why you are laughing.
Go ahead, sir.
So Nigeria, does it mean that there's nothing good that will come out from Nigeria? And our leaders are not showing the right path. Our leaders are betraying us. That's my contribution, please.
Okay, thank you very much for that contribution. But hold on, before I do, I think we need to confirm if okay, so that's fine. It's cool. So let me bring in Tokumbo Atlanta. Tokumbo, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I need to commend your effort on this platform. I have been an addicted member of this platform because of what you stand for. There are so many, those of us that are here, we are workaholic and we work 24/7. But when we see when we want to hear the truth about what is happening in our country, we shift to this particular platform. And I was once a chairman of a party in Nigeria, in Ekiti State, to be precise. And before I migrated here, out of frustration from the political and the misgovernance and the fraudulent, that is going on there, because I can't stand it as an activist, and I came over here to United States, with my, to join my children and my wife. That being said, I will ask here, just like what my the first speaker have just said, protest is inevitable in Nigeria. Peaceful protest. Tinubu must go. Number one, if the head is faulty, sir, there is no image there is nothing you can use to, by the grace of God, for the period I'm here, I've traveled to 48 states in this America out of 50. And I have been privileged to meet some people in the political this thing here in this country. So you see, our image has been dented. There is nowhere you can't even contest anything here now. You can't document. You bring a document from Nigeria, and you say this is from Nigeria and it's authentic. Number one, everybody is at large. They will begin to use their eyebrow to talk to each other. They have come. Be very vigilant. So look at the level of that. Look at the level of that image, dented that they have given to us. Now, sir, if at my age, I'm 62 now, by February I will be 63, and I cannot walk into any, as a citizen, I cannot walk into any offices here. And I say, that my accent doesn't change like an American people. My accent is still showing Nigeria Ekiti man. You go hear them. Say this one are from Nigeria. And they can't trust me at my age when I'm supposed to be a senior citizen in America here. Anybody in my age bracket here in America is a senior citizen. Am I right, sir? And now, if we cannot, because of what this man is doing, the Mahmoud, Mobad that they just killed now, those two boys that are related to these cases, they are the messenger of Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There is errand boys. That That is one. Number two, look at the judgment. Look at the Banana Republic judgment they gave to us in federal capital, where they use jazz on every judges. That every judges are lawyer. That is not from Tinubu. They all slept in the court. All of them slept because they blow something there. They blow something there that only the people that come from their side, from Tinubu, were not asleep.
No. I was.
Is that not? That is a situation that has happened, that has never happened anywhere in the whole world.
No,
everybody knows now that we can never be straight. Oh my God!
Listen. Let's not misinform the public. I was personally in the court that day. At some point, myself, I closed my eyes too. It's not that anybody blew anything into the hall. The thing, listen. Even Ganduje, even Skayamo, I personally took pictures of many of them that slept. The truth is that at some point, because the judgments they were reading were so boring, when you sit down for 4 or 5 hours and all you hear is section 31, 32, blah blah. But at some point, honestly, that's being fair. And bear in mind that many of us in that hall that day were there for minimum of 12 hours. I don't know how can you sit for that long, you won't sleep. So not that they blew anything in the air, okay?
You remember that all the witches in Nigeria, they said they are coming to Abuja because of Tinubu. This man is involved in so many atrocities. You cannot even to have that man in that place, because he's full of all manner of evil that you can think of in Nigeria. This man is headed there.
Okay.
So how do we say no? Let truth be told. Because this is the essence of this platform. People on this platform, they are not many, and these people that you see on this platform, they are people that are desire for integrity, people of reputable names, people that desire for better life. For our generation to come.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So as a result of this, my name is Tokubu Ajayi. Let them join. Let Tinubu boys join. Let me release some information to them. Let them see whether they work or not. Let them work on it. I'm coming to Nigeria in the next 2 weeks. Let them wait for me at the airport. I'm coming to Nigeria. We need to tell this man to leave that place. This is the first day where Nigeria will vote, just apart from the time of Abiola, when we have massive vote for somebody from nowhere, because the Nigerians are tired of all these fraudulent people called leaders. Until may God bless Jerry Rollins. Until Nigeria go to Jerry Rollins' lifestyle, gather all our leaders in one place and burn them up and kill them one time. Then Nigeria will have peace. These people, they don't have our interests at heart, Mr. Moderator. They don't have our interests at heart. We need to come out. I went to one of the senators here about 3 weeks ago. I said, please, is there any place they can enroll people to train people, so that I can go back to their country to go and take over their country? I was ready to do that. I was in Liberia, sir.
Thank you very much. Let's bring other people in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Tokumbo, thank you very much. So, Ebuka, can you make your submission, please?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ebuka. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I always like coming to this. This is my first time of sharing myself and trying to make. And besides,
sorry, I have some people behind the studio. Please, could you be appropriately dressed? You can't come without a top or just a singlet, please. Can you dress up, appropriately? Then you'll be brought in. Thank you. So go ahead, Ebuka.
Am I appropriately dressed? I'm wearing a shirt.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm gonna take some objective perspectives.
Go ahead.
Some of the revelations that are coming out from ATiku Abubakar's camp
is a little bit late. I have my reasons.
Right.
One, I feel for someone like Peter B, it's difficult for him to have prepared to this level because of what he went through under PDP and, of course, the Nigerian system. But for someone like ATiku Abubakar, who knows Tinubu right from time, he has worked with Tinubu, even been to his party. Forget what he said today that he made Tinubu whatever. That's lie. For him to have worked with Tinubu in the past, and he has been running for this office for only God knows when. I think over 30 years. He should have been better prepared. In fact, I expected him to have Tinubu's record before now. Because sometimes some of these politicians, even when they work together, they have their secrets. So I expected him to have had Tinubu's secret before now. And he should have presented this at the appeal court. No sentiments. It shows that he wasn't really prepared for this election. And then again, Tinubu has always had this questionable issue of whether it's heroin, whether it's certificates, whatever it is. He finished, if you can remember, Gani Fayomi took him to court when he was governor of Lagos State. But my problem with Nigerians is that some of us who are a little bit passionate about change are not strategic. It's as simple as that. It's not enough for us to keep saying, this is bad, this is wrong, we no go agree, we no go agree, we no go agree. But how are you strategizing to get things done? Whether you want change or you don't want change, there must be a strategy for you to achieve whatever aim you have in life. So for me, I feel that the strategy is actually poor. So nobody should blame the courts. That's why I'm saying all this. For some of us who have been challenging the court and blaming the court, forget it. Some of them are not even happy with what is happening in Nigeria. But they can't do your job for you. Some of those guys that you people accuse that they are this and they are that at the appeal court, they couldn't stand up for justice. I can remember Salami is from a PDP state. If you look at him very well, some of them are not happy with what is going on in Nigeria, but they cannot do your job for you. You must present evidence. You must make your case strong. You must strategize. For me, I felt Atiku running for that election was the biggest problem we had. Atiku should have surrendered to someone like Peter B. If it was Peter B versus Tinubu, nobody would have been talking about certificate today. Nobody would have been talking about FBI record coming from, drug records coming from FBI. The election would have been won and lost since. So sometimes I think we need to slow down a little bit on emotion and then try to look at strategy. Somebody like Buhari ran for election for almost 3 times and he couldn't win. But when he applied strategy, he won. So it's not about shouting, we no go agree, we no go agree. We need strategy.
Ebuka, thank you very much. I think...
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your submission. I think it's very pertinent to note at this stage that, some of the things you said are born out of cool-headedness. The challenge that we do have sometimes as a nation is that we deal with so much emotion as opposed to really people sitting back. If you look at the votes that the vote that Peter Obi and Atiku had, that was, that's over 13 million votes, whereas Tinubu had about 8 million votes, even with all the rigging. So even with all the rigging, if the politicians did the right thing, now the question will be, what would have been the right thing? Kwankwaso will tell you that, as he said on one of the interviews, that no one would vote for anyone from the Southeast, telling you the mindset that he came on board with. Whereas Atiku is also believed that it was, his turn to also govern, right? And Tinubu believes that as well by the nomenclature and the approach of the a Milokon that he preached to his own people. Now, whereas if you go to the other side, you had a Pitobi who in many would argue that he represented the new face and the new breed, and that he represented integrity. And beyond integrity, where some people would also say, okay, hold on. The Southeast predominantly had always been a PDP controlled region. And these are a people for the past 24 years that have supported PDP. And rightly so, in 2024, would have been an appropriate time, having had a northern, someone from the Northwest govern for 8 years, that it would have been the right thing to do, to say, okay, we zone this. The rest is history. The deed has been done. They now know, all of them without exception, they now know that they messed up. When analysis before the election, did happen, and at some point I believe that many of them actually understood that the animal has left the barn. It's bolted out. There is absolutely nothing. However, you see, what ilks a lot of people in this election, I must keep saying it, whether people like it or not, what ilks a lot of people, even in the midst that for over in 3 electoral cycles, Nigeria had wanted to have a third party, what we call the third force. Attempted, it failed. Attempted again, it failed. This time around, it worked. And it worked because there was this consensus that something had to happen. Had the level of rigging and electoral manipulation that we saw, had it not happened, I don't believe anyone would actually go to court. I give people an example. In Anambra State, when the election happened, you see a clear case and a clear winner and how the people voted. That was electoral integrity. Did anybody go to court? The answer is no, because if you go to court, it would have been a waste of your money when you see that there is integrity. But in this case, even Lagos, where the Labour Party won, there was also massive rigging there, voter suppression. That's even when the other people, if you had allowed the proper election to happen in Lagos State, I bet you that the APC probably wouldn't have gotten 10%. That would probably be between 7 and 10% they would have gotten. Because it's not about anything. When people say these are, it's more Igbo, these, that, see, the people that voted in Lagos are not Igbos. The people that voted in Nigeria, in Lagos, are Nigerians. And I've done this analysis and I've said this and I'm going to say it again, that there is something that Nigeria must speak from Lagos and Abuja. It's not because of any other thing, but when you have a high percentage and concentration of people who can read, right, who understand and who are politically aware, that's actually what happened in Lagos. Lagos is not any other thing that you have a higher concentration of people, just like us in Edo. You can see that the election in Edo always go the other way, a place you cannot, in this modern time, impose what I call the Godfather syndrome. But be that as it may, I agree with your, postulation that things could have turned the way they did. However, it does not remove the fact that someone, according to what we heard today, traveled to America as a woman and came back as a man. So that is the crux of the matter as this press conference is concerned. Now, Paul Fega, are you there? Paul Fega, are you there? Can you unmute yourself, please? We cannot hear you. Are you using APC network? Paul Fega, we can't hear you. You may go out and come back in again. Just ensure that you select your network, please. Right. So let me go back and see if I can, now let's, we've gone the first round of introduction. Now let's do this before we close. What do you think, your honest take, what should Nigeria do now? What should Nigerians do as we are today? Yes, we understand that there is the Supreme Court, but now we are talking about Nigerians. In light of what has come out in the last 3 days and about to come out in the next 10 to 14 days by the FBI, the documents they are about to release. In light of all these things, what should Nigeria do? Nigerians. So let's start with Emmanuel, and I'll give you guys 2 minutes. Emmanuel, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy for that question. Simple. The simple thing every Nigerian needs to do now is revolution. That's the only thing that can save that nation. Revolution. This revolution we saw it in Egypt, it happened successfully. Tunisia, Morocco, Sudan, everywhere it happened. With the evidences at hand, what does Nigerians need again? What do they need again to understand that it's time to take back the country? We only say we want to take back our country, take back our country. When must we stop speaking and start acting?
Action. That's right.
We can't be talking, take back our country, without taking any action. The action is now. The evidence is there. The whole world have seen.
Let me push this question further. How do you take back your country where you have people call for demonstration? I'll give an example. After the election, I was at the, we were at the ICC where, where the collation was happened. A day before, we were asked to come back in the morning, and we left that night. Everybody went back. In the wee hour of 4 o'clock in the morning, the result was announced. Everybody obviously visibly angry, understanding that this election has been rigged, that this is not a reflection of their vote. And Nigerians called for people to take to the streets. I personally was in Abuja, and we protested under the Free Nigerian movement for 21 days. Yet everybody still wants you to mobilize them to come and protest. Now, you have seen it over and over that the Nigerians themselves, and I can say this without missing words, people would always say stuff sitting behind the keyboard. Oh, let's revolution, let's protest. But when it comes, okay, come out 8 o'clock tomorrow, let us protest. They will sit back. So what do?
This is where the problem is. This is where the media, has a lot of job to do. Your job is not complete until the action is taken. You are the one to open their eyes, as you have been doing. You are the one to show them this is what to do. There are a lot of things you have to do.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Hold on, before you give this example, let me address the first point you said. Now, when that protest happened, when you talk about the media, that we invested a lot, that protest was being streamed every day. The recordings later aired in the evening for 21 days on the street against all the DSS threat, against all the higher talks threat, threats that at some point, nearly being killed at the Unity Fountain in Abuja. Now, against all these things, Nigerians saw what was happening. Yet, everybody kept thinking, oh, let them do it. But who are they? So for how long shall the docility stop? For how long will people sit in their various houses and keep waiting? I've had people say, Oga, you guys need to mobilize us now. Do you know what it means when you hear that language? That means give us money for transport and feeding. Now, transport and feeding for what? Are you more Nigerian than myself, or am I more Nigerian than yourself? Or is it that when the country is fixed, I'm going to benefit more than yourself? So this is the crux of the matter. How do you address that?
Exactly what I just said. I know in Nigeria it's not easy because of one thing or another. Every Nigerian wants to have time to do his business or not. But at this point in time, the biting has soaked every Nigerian. It has touched them that this is, in fact, they needed a concrete and solid evidence more than what that could be, they can convince any of them. These two things that's come, the FBI issue and this certificate forgery, is enough to be used by the media as a means of convincing the people on the issue at hand and why they must take back their country. In these other countries where revolution took place, it wasn't easy. It didn't just start. There are times I watched a particular document of a particular country where this revolution succeeded. In fact, about 2 or 3 of them, I saw a situation where, especially in Egypt, the first time they started it, all the groups that started it were rounded up and they present. Nothing happened. They started at a point that was a flashpoint that happened. The media that was around at that particular time, they put it into display. For example, the one in Morocco, Tunisia, where the guy burnt himself. The media pull it up, that news up. This guy burnt himself because of something. And at that point, the population rose up and they decided that it's time either to die or to live. And that was how it started.
Are you willing to kickstart that for us, I beg?
Anyhow, if you want it, then as far as it's time, what are we living for? What are we living for? We are almost living there. So let's say it, smiling and suffering, suffering and smiling. What are we getting? A particular class of people decided to hijack the country as their own. While we and our future and our children are being mashed on that. How can we get out of this? We are ready any day, anytime. The last time something happened, I came back to Nigeria. I participated even during the time of NSAS protest. I arrived. I saw all that happened. I know I really escaped because of 1 or 2 things. But it has not deterred me any day, any time. And I'm ready to mobilize as many people as I could to make sure that this cause is sustained. All I know is let everybody talk to each other. The media, our personal selves, talk to each other. That is the only way we can take back our country.
Thank you very much. So we're running up now. So your closing thoughts, Tunde. You're muted now, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
What Nigerians do now?
Yeah, my suggestion is this. I somewhat believe that the problem facing Nigeria is leadership problem. And like my friend rightly said, that Nigeria needs revolution. Revolution cannot work in Nigeria. We have many tribal groups in Nigeria. What I'm trying to suggest is this. Nigerian politicians are criminals. That is well known. What the solution to Nigerian crisis is to have our original arrangement. That Aburi Accord by Ojukwu, the three regions should be autonomous. Then the central government should have less power. But because when we had that three regional, the Westerners, they were concentrating on coal, which I will use. Then the Northerners were concentrating on their landlord.
Let me pick up from what you said. How would that have solved the problem? That means if you had those regions, it would have meant that Tinubu would have been contesting for the position of the prime minister. You know, if you go back to that region, you have
for his area.
I mean, let's let's review, let's push out emotion and review these things, critically. It would mean that Tinubu would have been contesting for the post of the prime minister. So how would that have changed the madness and the mess that we are currently in?
No, Tinubu is out of this. Tinubu is out of discussion because it's already disqualified.
How?
For any political leadership in Nigeria.
How would we have done that? How?
Huh?
How is it disqualified then?
Because of all these issues surrounding him, the drug issue, the change of name.
Huh? Hold on here. No, it's here. When we make propositions, think about it, very deeply and bring it on. Now, in taking you on what you said, how do you, because it will still be the same process, right? Before now, there was election in 1960, before 1966, before the coup happened, there were elections. In the Second Republic, there were elections. The question now is, when we are practicing parliamentary system of government, how would a tribunal not have emerged? Because if it is still the head and not the regional governance, because what your proposition is saying, go back to 1964, then you practice this, the Constitution of 1963. I agree. But how would that have stopped someone who was vying for the highest post in that nation?
My brother, problem of Nigeria, I don't know if I have the brain to think about it, because the problem is above an individual. It's what each and every group has to sit down and then think about way forward. Nigerian problem cannot be solved by any political groups. This problem has to be solved by us individuals, not all these political vultures we have around in Nigeria. Tinubu or no Tinubu, Tinubu is out of discussion. I'm talking about.
Someone made a proposition. Oh, I think that was actually you. No, that was the man from Ekiti, who said that all the political leaders should be killed. Well, hold on. It sounds easy, but our neighbor, Ghana, at some point went through that process under J.L. Lawrence. But what has happened today? Has Ghana actually become a corrupt-free society? Is Ghana a nation of sense? I believe that answer is in the negative. But anyway, let's leave that. It's an intellectual discourse. So let's bring Ebuka. Ebuka, what do you think? What's your proposition?
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Excuse me. Am I?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. And if this regional government fail, the next option is to call it to your tents, O Israel.
Okay, that's a fantastic proposition. But have you also thought that when you call it your tent, O Israel, isn't that a relocation of the same criminals now from central to their various regions? Think about it. Now, Ebuka, now your turn.
Okay. On the interim, because you're talking about what Nigerians should do now, which is very important and key.
What Nigerians?
I think that's wisdom from you. You have a lot of wisdom. What I feel, I'm going to look at it from two perspectives, one from the political and one from the citizens' perspective. So for the political, I feel they should start working on the next election. Don't wait until 1 year, 2 years before the election. You have a case against Tinubu, take it to a criminal court, start the proceedings now. Don't wait until that time. Then another thing I need, if you have other secrets about him, bring it out now. Don't wait till the next election. And then you guys need to come together. If it's going to be against Tinubu, it has to be a southerner, not a
Now,
northerner.
you have already started the demarcation. You said you guys will need to come together, excluding
No, I mean
yourselves. Who are the you
no.
guys?
I'm talking about I split it into two, the political class and the citizens. I'm talking about the political class now. I've not gotten to the citizens. The political class, the political parties like Atiku Abubakar, Kwankwaso, P2B, and whoever that wishes to leave APC and join them in the future. They are the ones I'm talking about now. Then another thing they need to do, the opposition have members who were elected at the state and national level. They should think of rendering service to their people. Things are hard. Don't just wait until you get presidency before you start helping people. Make sure that those of you who are NMPP, Labour Party, PDP members in the House of Rep, in the Senate, and at the state level, make sure that they are doing something for the people to alleviate poverty. Then on the citizens' part, what we need to do is to help ourselves. We have a common saying, onye nụrụ ube nwanne ya agbala ọsọ. On the interim, what we need to do is to help ourselves. If you see someone close to you in your community who is suffering and who hasn't eaten, and you have something to eat, it doesn't matter. You can break your bread and share with him. If you feel that you have enough money and the next person who is close to you doesn't even have money for transport, you can split your own and share. You have a car and you're going somewhere, you have somebody who doesn't have a means of going to that place, the person can join you. You have a business and you have a boy who is on the street, who doesn't have something doing. You can ask him questions and look at how to help him. That's what the citizens can do now if the government have failed them. I don't believe in the aspect of maybe looking for how to overthrow a government or looking for Jerry Rawlings Smith. That won't work. Even when you raised an issue in Ghana, they did it in Ghana, but what's the state of Ghana now? Ghana is bankrupt. I do hope some of you who are saying this know. Ghana is bankrupt now. So that means it won't work. Moreover, Nigeria is a little bit different. We have a lot of religious, ethnocentric sentiments that is actually going to spoil that particular plan. You saw how the answers ended. So these are the ways I feel on the interim we can help ourselves going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I like Ebuka's proposition, so we can start it from this platform. Ebuka said, let's help ourselves. So, and let many of you who are watching start by helping here. Make sure you are subscribed to this platform. That's your help. Make sure you share this video. That's your help. And make sure you use the super sticker and super chat to help this platform as well. Or if you want, there is also an account number there on the screen. That is that help. Ebuka, thank you very much on that. Then lastly, Tokumbo. I think Tokumbo has gone underground. Tokumbo, are you still there? Mr. Tokumbo, are you still there? Okay, guys, I think, the reason and why we have done this is obviously as a recap again, for those who may have joined very late. This broadcast was necessitated as a result of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's address to the world on his findings on the person of Bola Tinubu and his Chicago State, Chicago State University certificates. Now, one thing, as I said before, this is no joke. One thing that one of the lawyers that took questions from journalists said, and that stuck with me, was that we have a man who went to the United States of America as a woman. I don't know how that happens. I mean, the record shows that in the admission form from one of the colleges into the Chicago State University, where they say sex, it says male, female, meaning that's a woman. I don't know if at any point some surgical transgender stuff happened, but I'm not aware of that. But you know, the rest is history. So at some point, by the time it was time for him to come back to Nigeria, he came back to Nigeria as a man. And also in that press conference, it became apparent, according to the lawyer, that at some point the social security number that was used also belonged to a woman. And that social security number was in the form field. Now, if we take a step backwards, yesterday, Daily Trust said something, and that part really got me. And let me not make any mistake. Let me find it and take that on for us. Because these are things that sometimes when we read these things, it appears, you know, it is, you know, it's something, you know, many would probably want to laugh and maybe to say laugh it off. But these things are not funny, because how can it be that a single man would have only for one man will have so much error? How could it be that you are the only person that they will have an error in your name, error in your date of birth, error in your social security number, error in your sex? I said this to us a couple of years back. My first name is Tochukwu, which is spelled Tochukwu. Now, there was one of my certificates as a, you know, as a local dialect in the southeast that bore the name Tochukwu, meaning T-O-O. The German authority told me that this individual is not the same as this individual, even when you have the same date of birth, unchanged. That there and then had to be corrected. I do not see when a man feels something by himself or a form you see that was a mistake. As an adult, you let it be. First year, second year, third year, 20, 30, 40 years later. Okay. Now let you work. It is very, very unusual. This is what Daily Trust wrote yesterday. They said, birthday mismatch, gender error, unanswered questions at Chicago University releases Tinubu's certificate. How could it be only one man? It's 4 errors too many. It's not only about 1 error, it's about 2 errors, 3 and 4. How about, again, Nigerians? As I speak to us and I say to us that the ball is indeed in our court. The ball is in the court of Nigerians to decide what happens next. If Nigerians decide that irrespective of the direction that the judiciary takes, that they are comfortable with that, then I say unto us, then you have to live with that. As you live with that, whatever decision they've come with, you have to also live with that as well. Many of you don't know that the day of the day the government was sworn in on the 29th of May 2023, they told us that subsidy is gone. How does it sound? A subsidy that they've told us is gone is somewhat bad. The same subsidy we are paying. We now know that the same subsidy that we pay, according to TVC document that we saw, I think that about 2.7 trillion, again, being something we've been told that we no longer pay. The only reason why the petrol price has not increased beyond 620,000 naira is because the government is afraid that if they do, it might actually push the people on the street. That is the only reason also why Buhari, before the election, did not remove fuel subsidy. And he said that fuel subsidy was going to be removed from end of June. That is from first week of July, which is the Q3, that fuel subsidy will be removed. Yet no one asked this question. Fuel subsidy, by the pronouncement, went immediately after 29th of May. Who ate the fuel subsidy already paid for and budgeted for the month of July? There is a lot of questions that we have to ask And there is a lot of questions that we are asking. Nigerians, as the last question puts it, where are you standing? In the midst of all these information and revelations that David Hundein has completed a marvelous job started by late Chief Gani Fayemi, who tried to unmask this mystery. But because as a result of the inability of modern technology and the limitations of knowledge and limitations of cooperating partners at that point, today, a young man in his early 30s has made this possible. That people now have a building stone that they can stand on to take this further. In all this, are Nigerians going to listen to this and keep quiet and go home and sleep as if nothing ever happened? Or are Nigerians going to say, irrespective of whatever the judiciary thinks about us, irrespective of the decision they take, that they are going to demand that certain actions and certain things be done? We leave that to you. On that note, I say thank you very much for joining us. I am still Mazi. Okay. On this note, I say good night, all of us. Bye for now.